It's time for military school story time. Okay, so I already told you a story. I was at military school, then COVID happened, so they sent everybody home except for me and this other kid and like 20 other kids because our parents didn't want us home. And then me and that other kid were put in charge of everybody, and it was pretty cool. And so how it usually works is that there is a company which is like 50 kids, and it's run by one captain who makes the rules and one first sergeant who enforces the rules, and then there's a bunch of other ranks and stuff, but that doesn't matter because we didn't have that. And so me and this other kid were both captains, and then my first sergeant was my friend who we'll just call Pierdo because, I don't know, I don't really want to use his name because it's kind of, the story's kind of about how much of a shithead Pierdo was. So
I don't know. I feel harsh saying that he's a shithead when in reality he was just shit at his job. He had one job, one teeny little itty-bitty responsibility, and that was to wake everybody at 6 o'clock. And he couldn't do it. So it would be like fucking 5:45, and I'd be waiting in the TAC office for his dumbass to come in and wake everybody up. But then, he never showed up. And by 6:05, I go into his room, and he's like naked and sleeping on the bed. I'm like, Pierdo, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, sorry, man, I forgot to tell you, I don't own an alarm clock. So I got him an alarm clock, and the next day I'm like, Pierdo, you had better be on time. So the next day rolls around, he's still not there on time. So I go to his room, he's still naked, sleeping on his bed. He's like, oh, shit, sorry, the alarm didn't go off. So the next day, I literally come to his room at like 5:30 and wake him up personally. And he answers the door, and he's fully wide awake. And I'm like, all right, Pierdo, you're wide awake. There's no excuses. Like, exactly, there should be no excuses. So, 6:05 rolls around, and I go to his room, and he's naked, sleeping on his bed. I'm like, Pierdo, what the fuck? And he was all like, oh my god, please don't fire me. I promise you it was an accident. It won't happen again. Please just give me one more chance. One more chance. One more. So the next day, I literally go into his room, wake him up, watch him get dressed, and the whole time he has the audacity to be like, you don't trust your own first sergeant to get dressed? That's pathetic. What kind of company commander are you? What kind of company commander can't trust his own first sergeant to get dressed? So he gets dressed, and it's like 5:55. He has 5 minutes till he has to wake up the company. So I'm like, all right, I'll see you in the TAC office in 5 minutes, okay? And he's all, yeah, sure. That sounds great. So, it's 6:05, and he's not there. At this point, I was all like, you know what? I've had it. Just one more chance. So I knew Pierdo before I was even going to military school. So Pierdo and I were tight, but I really needed him to do his job. And the other company commander was telling me hey, fire this idiot. And so I don't know. I kept on giving him chance after chance after chance. And then one day we were done with dinner chow. I was all like, all right, Pierdo, time to leave the mess hall. And he just told me to fuck off. And I was like, you know what? You're fired. So the commandant, which is pretty much like the principal, but for the barracks, he did not like that, not one bit. He hopped right out of his office, right onto my ass, and was like, oh, you gotta clear it with me when you fire people. You can't just go firing people yourself. That'd be mayhem. And I would have cleared it with him if he wasn't such a fucking clown, but, So anyway, I was just like, cool, dog. And I left his office and I went back to the barracks. So at the time, I did not own a cell phone. So whenever I wanted to make a phone call to my parents, because they were pretty much the ones that didn't want me to have a cell phone, I had to use the phone room. So I went back to the barracks and I went to call my mom, I think. I don't know. And the way the phone room was, it was there was a giant glass window on it. So everybody could see into the phone room. And then just the outside where everybody would form up and stuff was right next to it. So I'm in there, and I'm just, trying to make my call, and all of a sudden people just start gathering around the window and staring at me. I'm just like, what the hell? And then, all of a sudden, Pierdo walks in, picks the phone up out of my hand, hangs it up, and starts yelling at me, oh, how did you do this? How could you do this to me? We're such close friends, what the hell? And, the second I collect myself, I waste no time at all in standing up and exchanging some harsh words myself, while the whole company's watching. And it's just a fiasco. Now, over the next couple of days, there was this kid named Marconi, and he really wanted to be first sergeant because he actually wanted to do the job instead of Pierdo, who just wanted to do it for the perks. So I ended up making him first sergeant, and a bunch of people ended up having a problem with that, but that's their problem, not mine. So anyway, though, the person that had the biggest problem with it was Pierdo.
So what Pierdo does is he tells me that one of the TAC officers needs something from me in Echo Company, which is all the way on the other side of school. So I go to Echo Company, and Pierdo runs all the way to Echo Company as well, but goes the other way and hides in a room. And then when I get there, obviously the TAC officer isn't there, and I'm like, hello? But then Pierdo comes out of one of the rooms with a wet floor sign and whacks me on the head with it. And so Pierdo and I ended up duking it out for quite a few minutes, but I'm not even going to lie to you. That's pretty much the last interesting thing that happened in the story. Quick spark notes. We just got back to the barracks. We both got in a little bit of trouble, but we were friends again the next day and just moved on with our lives, I guess. Oh, hey. Didn't see you there. Subscribe or watch some of my other videos or whatever. You're your own person. Do whatever you want.